Today's lesson is on comparing fractions. That means if you take two or more fractions and you decide to put them in order from smallest to largest, or just determine their size based on smallest or largest. There are three different ways to compare fractions, and the first way is by taking your fractions and looking at them and determining which is larger or smaller based on three different steps. The first thing you need to do is look at your fractions and determine the common denominator. So I have 5/9 and 3/8, and I need to look at that and say, okay, what denominator can I use that works for both 8 and 9? So if I start listing the multiples of 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, and then do the same for 8. So I have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. I can see that there really isn't going to be something that's common. If I continued my list, I'd end up with 63. But we also know that if I do 9 times 8, I'm going to get 72, not 63. So my common denominator is 72. As I said, if I continued on with my multiples, I would see that the only match would be 72. So my next step is to create the equivalent fraction using my knowledge of the common denominator. So 72 is my common denominator. So to get 72, I multiplied by 8. So then I do the same with the numerator, 5 times 8, and I get 40. And do the same with my second fraction, 8 times 9, to get my common denominator of 72. 3 times 9 is actually 27. So comparing my decimals, which is the second step, not decimals, fractions, which is my second step. 5/9 was 40 seconds. And 3/8 was 27 seconds. So I can tell by looking at the numerator that 40 is larger, therefore 5/9 is the larger fraction. Okay, the second way is to use an image or picture to compare. So I also already created equivalent fractions. 4/8 is 2/5, and 5/8, 5/10 is 1/2. My goodness. So I also have my picture. So I created my same size circles and same size pies. So if I look at this portion, which is colored in red, and this portion, which is colored in blue, which piece or shaded colored area is bigger? If you said 5/10, which is half of the circle, that's actually more than 4/10 or 2/5. So therefore, this fraction, 5/10, is larger. The last way to compare fractions is to cross multiply, and this is a shortcut. So if you look at how I have my arrows, I'm going to multiply 3 times 6, which gives you 18, and I'm going to multiply 2 times 6, which is 16, and I'm also going to multiply these two together to get the common denominator, 24, for both of them. 16/24 or 18/24. This fraction belongs to this group. This fraction belongs to this group. So which fraction would be the largest? 6/8, because 3 times 6 is 18. 2 times 8 is 16. I cross-multiplied the denominators so that they're both 24. The 18, which belonged to 6/8, is the larger fraction. If you need to, go back and watch the video, figure out which of the 3 types of comparing works best for you, whether you just first find a common denominator and make an equivalent fraction, whether you try to create a graphic or an image using the same size and same pieces of the fraction pi to look the same, or if you like this shortcut cross-multiplying way. Take a look at the quiz, questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, comparing these fractions, and then go ahead and click on the link on our page that will get you to the quiz. It's a good idea to use your math notebook to write notes in and write your answers. That will also show me your work, and then we can go from there to see how much you understand.